Your Steve Jones Show podcast is loading now. The Steve Jones Show podcast is sponsored by Purdy Insurance. Visit Purdy Insurance on Market Street in Sunbury or visit online at purdyinsurance.com.
The outstanding Bob Nightengale. Welcome back, Bob. Great to have you with us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Steve.
First of all, it's just great that we're talking about games, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll sketch you there for a while, but yeah, it's good to see baseball back and at least full capacity for stadiums. Not that they're selling the places out, but at least you get the potential to sell them out.
All right, so let's get to a couple of stories. One, of course, is the Aaron Judge story with money. The argument is going to be, the argument for is when you watch him play, you can see it. The argument against is going to be he's only played in 63% of the Yankees' games the last 4 years. What's some of the information you have as to why this fell apart?
Yeah, it just never really got close, Steve. I mean, he wanted more Mike Trout type money. Trout's extension was 10 years at $360, and he was younger. So it wasn't so much the years, but he thought, okay, for what I mean to this organization, the fan base, and everything else, on their biggest star, biggest stage in baseball, why not get, $36 million a year times 8, at least times 7. And, the Yankees said, yeah, we'll make you one of the top 3 highest paid outfielders, and in the end, being the second highest paid outfielder. Just 1 year difference. They were offering 7 years. I said Judge wanted 8 plus this year, but he was never near side. Never really budged, and the Yankees came up just a little bit in the annual average salary, but not to the $36 million that Trout's making.
It seems like, and this is based on stories about analytics. Analytics will say, "Hey, don't go after, don't do much with a guy after the age of 33 or somewhere in that range right there." Does that play any role in this since Judge is 30?
Oh, sure. If Judge was 27, 28, they would have had a deal. Yankees would have given him a longer term deal, and maybe they would have given him, the $36 million a year that Trout's making. I think his thing is he means so much to that organization. I mean, he's their modern day Jeter. Doesn't have the World Series rings, but just their biggest star. They got the Judge Chambers in right field, and they love it. I mean, he gets the biggest ovations by far. He is the face of the Yankees.
All right. The Broncos are in the process of being sold, and it sounds like Rob Walton may put in a bid of $4.5 billion to $5 billion. Not quite to that level would be the Washington Nationals. What do we know about the potential sale of that group and the Lerner family possibly putting that up for sale?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised because the family had said it was going to stay in-house. Maybe they get tired of the headaches, or maybe with the losing, it's going to be a while before they're competitive again. Maybe that's a factor too. So yeah, we've always known the Orioles were going to be for sale as soon as they, the family decides. That's been talked about for years. So this was a surprise with the Nationals. I mean, both teams in the Washington-Baltimore corridor, now up for sale. Cleveland is selling, 35% of their team now, 100% in 5 years. So, we haven't had too many baseball sales just because the franchises go up so much. Nobody wants to sell.
Okay. Yesterday, a lot of runs, not between the Yankees and the Red Sox, but 10 teams scored 6 or more runs. 8 of them scored 8 or more runs. 5 teams, 10 or more runs. 38 home runs hit. Twins hit 6. Bob, is this potentially a product of the shortened spring training in some ways, or are we really seeing some great offense?
Well, it's surprising because I thought with the short spring we're going to see this from opening day on, and we didn't. Of course, now you're seeing the number 3 and number 4 starters, so a difference there.
Yeah.
No one's going over 5 innings. I think maybe one guy's gone 6. No, I take that back. The Padres had a 6-inning guy and 7-inning guy. But hardly anybody is going deep. So we'll see. I haven't heard the pitchers weigh in yet to see if the ball is jumping or if the baseball is any different. I haven't heard that. I mean, you kind of raise your eyebrows. You see Guerrero hit one 467 feet yesterday. But that's a Sky Dome indoors. But yeah, we'll see what happens the rest of the month.
So, something interesting happened, and that is on opening day rosters. Julio Rodriguez with the Seattle Mariners, Bobby Witt Jr., Spencer Torkelson with Detroit. 3 young stars that were not put into the minors with the idea of we're going to take care of service time. Could that be a potential trend moving forward? The team just say, look, we're going to play these guys?
Well, hopefully. I mean, that's the way it was designed, and that's why the union fought for it, saying, hey, let's say, with these unfair for these guys that get down just for service time and don't get free agency a year later. Hunter Green from Cincinnati Reds, who pitched outstanding yesterday.
Yeah.
He's another one. But, yeah, we've seen about, must be 7 or 8, Steve, that made the open day roster. Maybe that wouldn't have happened in the past. Very few teams have done that. So, never know, too. If you they promote them, opening day like that, and you happen to finish, top in the Rookie of the Year balloting, you're going to get an extra draft pick out of it, too. And those draft picks are, probably worth $5 or $6 million right there.
Right, exactly. Although then the opposite side, this is what frustrates Pirate fans. They have the $35 million payroll, which is $1 million less than Mike Trout and Garrett Cole. And they take their top prospect, O'Neal Cruz, or at least one of their top prospects, and he's in Indianapolis. How tough is that when you look at the approach the Pirates are taking compared to the approaches of other teams?
Well, I guess if the Pirates are thinking, you know what, we're not going to, we're still rebuilding here. It's going to take a couple more years before we're competitive. Let's make sure, this guy has an extra year of service time, when they, call him up in May. The one thing, too, maybe they're being cautious in the sense, remember last year at Seattle brought up Jared Kelenic.
Yes.
And he wasn't ready.
Right.
Flat on his face, 0 for 39 slump. Then came up, I see with Kelenic, and they brought up Julio Rodriguez, just opening series, but, struggling out of the gate, too. So we'll see. Maybe they don't think he's ready. But, business-wise, it probably is smart to say, let's hold him back for a little bit. That way we'll get him for 7 years instead of 6. And, they better be winning here in the next few years or, more change to be made.
Let me ask you something about Rob Manfred, and this may be a tough question, but I've never met the man. I've never been in the same room with the man. I'm sure he's passionate about his job. In your opinion, how passionate is he about the sport?
I talked to him about that last week. He grew up in Rome, New York, which is real close to Cooperstown.
Yeah.
So, you're kind of in that environment. He grew up like my kid's New York, big Yankee fan, big Mickey Mantle fan, that sort of thing. I think the thing that goes against him is that he's a lawyer. You look back at the last commissioner, Bud Selig, and he was owner of the Brewers. So he was invested in that. Paul Mulder and Robin Yount were 2 of his best friends, that were doing everything possible for him. So Manfred doesn't have that. He gave a goodwill gesture of having Bose headsets for every player and sort of thing. But he doesn't have that sort of passion like Bud Selig did. At least it doesn't come out that way. Where I think Selig, I think the other owners would agree with this too. Selig ran it more of a mom and pop operation. That okay, we don't have to have every last dollar. Let's keep this game, the beauty of the game as it is. Where the perception of Manfred is, okay, what's wrong with uniform patches? What's wrong with embracing gambling? It means more money to the owners. Certainly the owners are making more money than ever. It should cross the $11 billion in revenue this year.
Yeah, and that's important. There's no question the $11 billion is important. There are 11 managers in the history of Major League Baseball that have 2,000 wins. Dusty Baker is now about, 9 or 10 away, I think, from getting there.
10. Mm-hmm.
It's 10 away from getting there. What kind of appreciation should people have for the kind of manager Dusty Baker has become over the years?
Well, it's going to a Hall of Fame. I know he's on that World Series ring, but he's been to a couple World Series. Has managed, 5 teams to the playoffs.
Yep.
So, they never underachieve. They always overachieve or play up to expectations. So yeah, to be one of 12 guys, I think by the end of the season he'll rank 9th on the all-time list. That's pretty impressive. It'll only be him and Joe Torre, whoever had over 1,900 hits as a player and over 2,000 wins as a manager as well. So, I mean, this guy was perfect for the Astros situation. Perfect in San Francisco doing Bonds and Kent and all that, and, with Cincinnati and Nationals. So, yeah, it's almost a shame he got fired a couple of times because he should have crossed 2,000 a long, long time ago. We talk about Bruce Bochy being in the Hall of Fame. He will. Bochy won 3 World Series. Dusty doesn't have that on the resume, but he's got everything else.
All right. Finally, state of the game. You talk with Rob Manfred, obviously. He's talked openly about a pitch clock. How do you feel, about pitch clock and also what the current pace of the game is?
Well, pitch clock is coming for sure next year. And you talk to managers. I remember talking to Craig Counsell about this a couple weeks ago in spring training, and he says he's all for it. He goes, let's pick up the pace of the game. It's too slow. The one thing I saw from the minor league data is that, forget about it. It does shave 20 minutes off the game. But not only that, but it increases the offense. I think the batting average is up by 25 or 30 points. Home runs were up, strikeouts down, even walks were down, where the shift, made no difference at all. But I think you've got to pick up the pace. You can't have one ball in play, every 4.5, 5 minutes.
Yeah,
now.
Right.
And that, that's just too slow going. So if the pitchers, get the ball and throw it, and the batter's in the box, maybe the pitcher's a little more, unnerved too, where he'll make more mistakes. So I think it's, it's good for that. I mean, there's World Series games, that go 4.5 hours are riveting. And no one has any concerns about it. But it's those 1-0, 2-1 games that last 4 hours. Say, wait a minute now. I'm tired of watching strikeouts, walks, or home runs. There's no rallies. It's like as someone put to me, it'd be the equation of football. If in football, if Tom Brady sets back and throws a bomb every play, hey, it's cool when it works, every 2-3 quarters, but you're boring your mind at all the other plays. And that's what baseball's become. There's no rallies. You want to see rallies.
Yeah. I mean, the rally is equivalent to a 9-play, 80-yard drive.
Right.
Yeah. That's what the equivalent is. Bob, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it, and also the great work you do.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you, Steve. Take care.